It's 2024 and you should spend 0 minutes every month on filing your expenses, on sending those expenses to your accountant or tax advisor, on saving those attachments somewhere in Google Drive, on entering data manually into some database, etc., etc. Let's use ChatGPT, let's use Zapier, let's use Google Drive, let's use Gmail's labels, and put all of that together to automate our expenses and incoming invoices in today's video. Let's get started. Yeah, quick look at the end result that we're trying to achieve here. I'm gathering invoices in Airtable because that's where I organize my business. And I want these records to be created automatically from those incoming invoices. So I have certain companies I use for my business, and then every invoice here is a record. They have a certain category, a date, an amount, and then, of course, also the document itself. Let's go into Zapier and let's see how we would set this up. I've already created a Zap called Processing Incoming Invoices. And we kick this off with the trigger of a new labeled email in Gmail. So we use this labeled email in Gmail because it gives us Gmail's functionality to actually add a plus to an email address and then create a filter in Gmail in order to categorize that email into a certain label. And when it enters that label, then this Zap basically starts. Yeah, I want to quickly show you how this looks like in Gmail. So I have a label here on the left-hand side called Invoices, and then I have my emails that are labeled as an invoice. And what this allows me to do is I can send emails to Rupert plus invoices at docsautomator.co. So my usual email address would be rupert@docsautomator.co, but now I can say plus invoices. And if I do that, I can create a filter in Gmail, which we do in settings, filters, and here we create a new filter. I've already created one. I can go and edit here. I can say, okay, if emails get sent to Rupert plus invoices at docsautomator.co, then continue, and I can apply a label called invoices. And that's how you can use that email address on any service or anywhere. You can also forward your own emails to that if you're coming from a different account. And these invoices will then be automatically categorized as an invoice with that invoices label. And if they are categorized like that, then this Zap will run because it is triggered. So I'm selecting my account here, and then we need to define the label, which was invoices, and we check for a trigger. We should find some emails here that already have that label. Let me go on, test this again. There we go. So I have one invoice here, which is, let's actually use a different one that also has an attachment. So that is, a teller invoice. That's an invoice. That's a video software that I'm using, and this also has an attachment attached to it. So we're going to use this and work with that selected record. So now we need an action, and what we want to do is we want to differentiate between two things. Either the email has an attachment, then we want to look at that attachment because we say that is an invoice attachment, or it doesn't have an attachment. If it doesn't have an attachment, we want to say, okay, then the invoice details are actually in the email itself. So how we do that is by setting up a path. So a path step, and we need two paths. One we call attachment, and the other we call no attachment. Now we need to, now we need to define certain rules. And the rule we want to define is if the attachment, so this is actually here the document, exists. And here we want to set the rule if the attachment, here it is, does not exist. But that's not all I want to do. Like for the right path, that is enough. For the left path, it's not, because an attachment could also be a different file. It could also be, I I don't know, like some XML file or like a digital contact or whatever. Could be some random stuff that is not invoice related. So we also want to say that the media type is PDF. So in that we have as a MIME type. There we go. Not of the one, not of the two, but of the one. And here we say if that is application PDF. Because any PDF will always have that MIME type application PDF. For the right side, that is okay. We just say if there is no attachment, the right side, if there is an attachment and it's a PDF, run the left side. We're going to continue, and we should see that this is actually running for this triggered email because that has an attachment to it. And now I want to do something. So what we want to do is we want to take that attachment and we want to look at what's inside. And we do that by using Google Drive, because in the Google Drive action, we have an event which is called upload file. And potentially we would be interested in uploading the attachment to Drive, and let's actually say we want to upload the PDF to Drive. So I have a folder called Invoice Demo, and let us take the attachment. There it is. We're not converting now, but this is going to be an important step soon. And the file name is actually under, I think, attachment name. Attachment 1 file name. So that's the name of the file. We continue and we test. And this hopefully works. Yes, it works. But now we kind of do that again. So I duplicate this step. And this is actually, we can rename this and we can say upload PDF Google Drive. But here I want to say convert PDF to Google Doc. And we can actually also do that with the Google Drive step. And it's also the upload event, upload file. And we select the same folder exactly. We need to select our drive here again. And then we say convert to document. Yes. And this is actually going to create a Google Doc out of this now. So I do this. Did I just do that for that? Oh no, I don't want to do that here. This was actually the uploading PDF, the convert step. Sorry for that. True. We test that. And this now takes the PDF and turns it into a Google Doc. And what that does is, let's look at the response here. So here we just sort of get that file back. So this is a file which is now stored in Google Drive. But here we get something else back. From the Google Doc, we get a text file back. And the text file we can now use in a file action, which is called, like the action is called Files by Zapier. And we can say text from file. And then we can actually select that file. I think it's all the way at the bottom. No, that file txt. There we go. So that text file that we get back from the Google Drive API for the Google Doc, UTF-8 as encoding is fine here. We can take that and we can test the step, and that should now give us the content of the Google Doc just as text. And there we go. So we had certain data in there. Maybe we can also open this from here with the link. So we can actually also look at these two files that got created. So we have this PDF here, and then we have a Google Doc here, which looks like this. The formatting is not perfect of the Google Doc, but we don't really care about it. We just care about the text content, which we have analyzed with this text from file in files by Zapier step. And here we see the text that we can now take to analyze further what's sort of in that document. So now let's add a ChatGPT action. And what we take here is the extract structured data. So what the extract structured data does, it takes unstructured data and then basically uses, as it says here, OpenAI's function calling capability in order to return some structured data to us. It's actually quite cool because Zapier has that just built in and would be not necessarily super hard, but much harder to build in custom code. And we can just use this here because Zapier just provides this for us. So this is really, really cool. And we can go ahead and define this. So unstructured data comes from that text step or extracting text step. And then we use a model. Let's say we use GPT 3.5. For this, I think that will be enough. We don't need more reasoning capabilities than 3.5 for this, would be my guess. Let's see if it works. Temperature can stay at 0, so that's like not creative at all, rather deterministic. And then we write a description. And the description is your job is to extract invoice data from a given text. And then we need to define the values that we want to extract. So what we want is, for instance, an invoice date. And then we can add more here, like an invoice. And then we want an invoice in company. Date amount company for now. Let's say we stick to that. What's the description for invoice date? We need to provide a more detailed description. Please provide the date of the invoice and give the result as. Now I want to define the format, and we say format should be like this. So 2-digit day, 2-digit month, and then a 4-digit year. Should this be required? Yes, or actually, let's say no. What data type is this? This is a string. String is a text. What are the possible values? Possible values would be 25/01/2024. That's today's date. So for the amount, extract the or get the invoice amount given as a number without a currency sign. That's important because when we add this later to Airtable, we don't really want a currency sign there, would be my guess. So that's how I would approach this. Should invoice amount be required? Let's say yes, that should be required. And data type should be a number. And what are possible values? Possible value is 99.50. Last thing, the invoicing company. Give the name of the company issuing the invoice. And yeah, let's require this as well. We require this, and what data type is this? This is the string. Possible values would be something like Google Inc. Google Inc. send us an invoice. And then let's test this. So yeah, and there we go. Looks pretty good. So the invoice date is correct. Let's look at the PDF. January 24th, 2024. This looks good. Invoice amount 19. Looks good. And then the invoice company is Teller HQ Inc. And that looks good. So yeah, it was able to analyze this data based on our PDF. So we can now go ahead and do the right side where we have no attachment. Let me actually duplicate this step and just add it here on the right side. Let me change the triggering email, which should be, yeah, this is actually an invoice from Apple, which has no attachment to it. So if I click on continue here, this should run, and yes, it does. So there is no attachment. Let's rename this. Now we can take as unstructured text, we can just take the uh, email body, basically. We don't have a document we need to analyze or we need to get the text out of. We just take the email body, and that's what we use for our ChatGPT step. The rest stays exactly the same. We still want the same data to be analyzed, and we run this. And wait a second, and there we go. Invoice date was now January 13th. Invoice amount 299, and company Apple. Regarding the invoice amount, sort of in my invoicing, or in my accounting, it's important to differentiate between euro and dollars. So the currency matters. For the sake of this demo, we don't really, I don't really respect currencies for now. But of course, you could also extract a currency here, right? You could extract the currency and then do something with it. For instance, what I do when I automate my invoicing is I always handle everything in euros, and then when it comes out it comes in US dollars, I know, this is a dollar invoice, and I receive a lot of dollar invoices. And then I'm actually converting that dollar invoice into a euro amount before I add it to my Airtable base, because in Airtable we have this net amount, and the net amount column, of course, has a specified currency. So we can't really say like, this is dollars and this is euros. We're not really able to specify that in Airtable. It's always like one currency. So before we add this, we actually have to convert it, or we convert it once it gets added within Airtable. But of course, we could make this entire setup more elaborate and also convert a dollar amount to a euro amount, for instance. So the last step I want to show you is adding this to Airtable. Let's add a step here, which is Airtable. We create a record, and we choose my account. And we use this accounting demo base, and there it's invoices. Yeah, and then we just add what we have for now. So what we know is a company. So the company we take from this step 7, which was invoicing company, and then we had the in our case here net amount. So the net amount is the invoice amount, and then we have the date. So the date we take from here, and then we test this step and we see whether we see something being added here. So this got sent. Can't really see it here, but the reason we don't see it is because I forgot to specify the type. Let me actually do this again, so this looks better for the demo. Type is actually expense. I'm using the same table here for expenses as well as my outgoing invoices. And let me test this again. We retest this step. There we go. These are not where we want to have them because the date isn't getting passed. Let's look at this issue. Why is that? That is because that's actually not the format that Airtable expects. So we got to get this differently from ChatGPT. Actually, we want the format to be month first and then the days. So actually also the example here would be like this. And we continue and we retest this step. Let's see. Okay, now it comes out month first, and I think that is what Airtable actually expects. Yeah, I can leave it like this and retest. Let's see. There we go. So it was hard to see now, but wait, let me actually delete this again. It's actually there is a teller already, confusing, but let me retest this step. Yeah, and now you can see that sort of this gets filed correctly. This is the company and then the date. And we have the net amount. We forgot to pass the document here, which of course is something we wanted to do as well. But let me just leave it like that for now. I think you get the idea. This can be expanded into multiple ways. So, of course, potentially you want to automate the selection of the right folder here. Potentially, you want to create a folder if it's a new month. We haven't done this now for the right side, of course, for the no attachment branch here, but that would work very, very similarly, just that we don't really pass an attachment there. As I said before, this can also be expanded in terms of converting the currency right away. So we also haven't passed the currency here now, but that is something we would have selected as well. And you can also get ChatGPT in the automation step here to select the currency and give you the currency, and depending on the currency, do something with that. So there are many, many ways of how this can be expanded in various directions, but I hope this sort of gave you an idea of what's possible. I hope it gave you an idea of how you can basically automate anything when it comes to your invoicing, and how you can build these zaps in order to automate these things for you. We haven't turned this on yet, which of course we could do, but I think it's also not important for the demo. This trigger will run periodically depending on your plan. So I'm on the Pro plan, then I guess it's like every minute or every 2 minutes or so. I think this is also selectable. I think on lower plans it's up to every 15 minutes. So this can be relatively slow. But most of the time, it doesn't really matter, right? Because you get an email and then at some point it just automatically files it for you. Of course, there's also some post-processing that might happen, right? Once a month, you want to take all that data and send it somewhere, or you want to archive it in some way, or yeah, whatever it is. There are many, many ways this can be expanded, and this can be made a lot better, I think, than what I've created here today. Would love to get your feedback on this. And if you think this was valuable for you, just let me know in the comments below, and see you next time. Happy automating.